The vast emptiness of space surrounded the HSS Pathfinder as it drifted silently at the edge of uncharted territory. Captain Tom Reed stood at the command center, his weathered face illuminated by the soft glow of the control panels, his eyes fixed on the main screen displaying several large ships in the distance. "They've spotted us," said Jack, the sensor officer. His fingers moved quickly across the console, reading multiple energy signatures. Definitely not human tech. Tom nodded calmly. "Keep us at passive observation distance. Don't make any sudden moves." This moment had been years in the making. Humanity had prepared for this inevitable encounter, sending the Pathfinder as their quiet scout. The ship's special design included advanced observation systems hidden beneath an exterior that deliberately appeared less advanced than it truly was. On the alien flagship, Commander Vortek of the Vorn Collective studied the report before him with mild curiosity. "This vessel, what species controls it?" he asked his second-in-command. "Unknown, Commander. Their technology appears basic. Minimal weapons, simple propulsion systems. Likely just explorers who strayed too far from their home system." Vortek's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of dismissal in Vorn body language. "Not worth our attention. Log it and continue with our scheduled operations. We have 3 systems to bring under control this cycle." "Should we not at least make contact? Our protocols suggest." "The protocols exist for species that matter," Vortek interrupted. "Look at their ship. Primitive metals, inefficient design. They pose no threat and offer nothing of value. The collective expands on schedule. We don't waste resources on insignificant encounters." Aboard the Pathfinder, the humans observed this decision with hidden relief. Their ship's special outer hull was designed to mask their true capabilities, a strategy developed after years studying distant foreign communications. "They're ignoring us," Lisa, the communications officer, reported. "Their ships are moving away, continuing on their original course." Tom allowed himself a small smile. "Perfect. Begin full spectrum analysis. Record everything. Their ship designs, propulsion signatures, communication patterns, weapon systems. The quieter we stay, the more we learn." The crew worked with practiced efficiency as specialized instruments gathered data on the Vorn fleet. Each crew member had been selected for this mission because they were the best in their fields. Engineers, scientists, and military experts working together to understand a potential threat to humanity. "Captain, their technology is remarkable," said Mark, the chief engineer, as data flowed across his screen. "Their power generation systems are unlike anything we've seen. But there's something odd about their shield configurations. They seem to have blind spots at specific frequencies." Tom moved to examine the readings. "Note everything. Every strength and every weakness. Earth needs to know exactly what we're facing." The Pathfinder maintained its position for 3 days, recording terabytes of data as the Vorn fleet conducted operations in a nearby system. The aliens continued to pay no attention to the lone human ship that appeared so harmless. On the final day, as the Vorn prepared to leave the region, an officer approached Commander Vortek with concern. "Commander, that foreign vessel is still present. It has not moved from its observation position." Vortek dismissed the concern with a wave of his hand. "Some species are simply cautious by nature. They likely fear us, as they should. Their observation changes nothing. The collective will expand as planned." As the Vorn fleet disappeared into faster-than-light travel, Captain Tom ordered the Pathfinder to power up its hidden engines. "Set course for Earth. We have what we came for." Little did the Vorn know that their dismissal of this single ship would become the greatest mistake in their history of conquest. The journey back to Earth took 3 weeks. During this time, the crew of the Pathfinder worked tirelessly, analyzing the mountain of data they had collected on the Vorn Collective. Their ships use a form of crystal-based power system, Mark explained during one of the daily briefings. He pointed to the holographic display showing the inner workings of a Vorn warship. "It's efficient but creates a unique energy pattern. We could potentially track them across vast distances just by looking for this signature. Captain Tom nodded. Any weaknesses? Lisa, who had been studying Vorn communications, spoke up. Their command structure is extremely rigid. All decisions flow from the top down. Take out their flagship, and the rest might fall into confusion. The crew had become more than just explorers. They were now humanity's first line of defense. Each night, Tom recorded his personal observations in the captain's log. The Vorn are expanding rapidly through nearby systems, he noted. Based on their current trajectory, they will reach Earth's solar system within 5 years. We must be ready. As Earth came into view on the main screen, a sense of both relief and urgency filled the command center. The blue planet, unaware of the threat lurking in distant space, continued its peaceful orbit around the sun. Send the coded message to command, Tom ordered. Tell them we have critical information about a potential threat. Within hours of landing at the secret orbital station, the Pathfinder's crew found themselves in a secure conference room deep within Earth Defense Headquarters. General Maria Hart, the stern leader of Earth's unified defense forces, listened intently as they presented their findings. "You're certain they dismissed us as a threat?" she asked when the presentation ended. "Completely certain," Tom replied. "Their arrogance is perhaps their greatest weakness. They believe their technology makes them untouchable." General Hart stood up and walked to the window overlooking the sprawling military complex. "This gives us an advantage, but we need more. One reconnaissance mission isn't enough." "We recorded their faster-than-light jump signatures," Mark said, pulling up new data on his tablet. "We can track their movements, predict where they'll go next." "And with respect, General," Lisa added, "we now understand enough about their communication methods to listen in without them knowing. We could gather intelligence without even being near their ships." The general turned, a rare smile crossing her face. "You've done well. But now comes the hard part. We need to prepare Earth for a threat most people don't even know exists, and we need to do it without causing global panic." The next day, Project Guardian was born. A select group of scientists, engineers, and military personnel began working around the clock, developing technologies to counter the Vorn threat. The Pathfinder's data became the foundation for a new generation of defensive and offensive systems. In a private meeting with Tom, General Hart revealed the next phase of the plan. "We're building 5 more ships like the Pathfinder, but with improvements based on what you learned. We need more intelligence, and we need to test some theories about their weaknesses." Tom nodded, understanding what she was asking. "You want me to go back out there? Your ship fooled them once. It can do it again. But this time, you'll be doing more than just watching." As the meeting ended, Tom walked to the observation deck and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Vorn continued their expansion, still unaware of the quiet preparation happening on the small blue planet they had so easily dismissed. "They think we're harmless," he whispered to himself. "That will be their downfall." Within 3 months, the upgraded Pathfinder was ready to launch once again, this time with a much more dangerous mission. The upgraded Pathfinder slipped through space like a ghost. 6 months had passed since the first mission, and now Captain Tom Reed commanded not just a scout vessel, but a prototype hunter. "New stealth systems functioning at optimal levels," reported Jack from his station. "The Vorn shouldn't be able to detect us unless they're looking directly at us through a window." The ship now carried experimental technology reverse-engineered from the Vorn data. Its outer hull absorbed scanner waves instead of reflecting them, and its new engines left almost no energy trail. Most importantly, it carried 3 small devices the crew had nicknamed listeners, autonomous drones designed to attach to Vorn ships and transmit data back to the Pathfinder. "We're approaching the Kelnar system," Lisa announced. "Long-range scanners show significant Vorn activity. They've established a forward base on the 3rd planet." Tom studied the tactical display. "Perfect. A planetary base will have communications equipment linking back to their home systems. Position us behind the 4th moon and prepare the first listener for deployment." The crew worked with practiced efficiency. Unlike their first cautious mission, they now moved with confidence born from understanding their enemy. Mark prepared the first listener drone in the launch bay. This little beauty can attach to any surface on their ships. Its outer coating matches their hull material exactly. Once in place, it will record everything: internal communications, navigation data, weapons systems. "Launch when ready," Tom ordered. The small drone silently exited the Pathfinder and accelerated toward the Vorn base, its trajectory calculated to look like ordinary space debris if detected. On the Vorn command base, Officer Krell was reviewing security protocols when a minor alert appeared on his screen. Something had triggered the outer perimeter sensors, likely just a meteor or space debris. Still, he found himself troubled by an unexplainable feeling of unease. "Commander Vortek," he called over the communication link. "I'm detecting unusual patterns in our perimeter alerts. They could indicate deliberate movements rather than random debris." The commander's irritated voice responded. "Officer Krell, this is the third time this cycle you've reported supposed anomalies. Our systems are the most advanced in this sector. If there was a threat, we would know." "With respect, Commander, the pattern resembles potential scouting behavior. Perhaps we should increase scanner sensitivity around the base." "Denied. You're wasting resources on space dust while we prepare for major expansion. Focus on your assigned duties, or I'll find someone who will." The communication ended abruptly, leaving Krell staring at his console. Something wasn't right, but no one would listen. Meanwhile, the Pathfinder's listener drone successfully attached to a communication relay on the edge of the Vorn base. Within minutes, encrypted data began flowing back to the hidden Earth ship. "We're receiving data," Lisa confirmed, her expression brightening as she analyzed the incoming stream. "It's working. We're getting access to their internal communications network." The breakthrough was even bigger than they had hoped. The Vorn, so confident in their technological superiority, had only basic encryption on their standard communications. "They're planning a major push into 3 more systems," Lisa reported as she translated the data. "And look at this. Detailed specifications of their fleet movements, weapon capabilities, even their command protocols." Tom allowed himself a small smile. "Deploy the remaining listeners, one on their largest warship and one on their supply vessel." For the next 2 weeks, the Pathfinder remained hidden while collecting unprecedented intelligence. They learned about Vorn biology, their societal structure, and most importantly, their military doctrine. "They never expect resistance," Tom noted during one analysis session. "Every invasion plan assumes immediate surrender from lesser species. They have no contingencies for prolonged conflict." As they prepared to return to Earth with their valuable data, Jack noticed something on his scanner. "Captain, one of the Vorn officers keeps running unusual scan patterns. It's like he's specifically looking for something hidden." Tom studied the report. "Someone over there is smarter than the rest. Mark that officer in our report. He could be trouble later." The Pathfinder slipped away undetected, leaving behind only the silent listeners that would continue feeding information to Earth for months to come. On the Vorn base, Officer Krell stood alone at his post, staring at the stars with growing certainty that they were not alone. But his warnings continued to fall on deaf ears. The conference room at Earth Defense Headquarters buzzed with tension as General Hart reviewed the latest intelligence from the Pathfinder's mission. "This is beyond what we hoped for," she said, looking up from the data tablet. "We now have real-time information on Vorn movements, technology, and plans." Captain Tom stood at the head of the table, surrounded by Earth's top military leaders and scientists. 3 holographic displays showed different aspects of the Vorn threat: their fleet positions, technology schematics, and projected invasion routes. "Their next major expansion brings them to the Proxima Centauri system," Tom explained, pointing to a star map. "That's just one jump away from our solar system. Based on their current rate of expansion, we have approximately 14 months before they reach Earth." The room fell silent as the reality sank in. "Can we evacuate?" asked one official. General Hart shook her head. "To where?" We've barely established one small colony on Mars. There's nowhere for 10 billion people to go. Then we fight, said Dr. Alex Miller, head of the technology division. And thanks to the Pathfinder, we know exactly how. Dr. Miller activated a new hologram showing a complex design. This is Project Shieldwall. Using what we've learned about Vorn technology, we've developed countermeasures for each of their primary weapon systems. He expanded the display to show a satellite-like device. These defense platforms can be mass-produced and deployed throughout our solar system. They emit an energy field that disrupts the crystalline power core of Vorn ships, essentially rendering their weapons at half strength. How many can we build in 14 months? General Hart asked. With global resources diverted to the project, at least 2,000. Tom studied the design and offensive capabilities. Dr. Miller smiled for the first time. That's where it gets interesting. The Vorn have never encountered quantum entanglement weapons. Their shields are designed to stop energy and projectiles, not quantum-linked particles that can appear inside their ships. He displayed a small missile. We call it the Phantom. Once launched, half of its particles remain in the missile while their entangled pairs teleport past Vorn shields. When detonated, the reaction occurs simultaneously in both locations, outside and inside their shields. For the next month, Earth's industries were quietly converted to war production. The public was told about a major infrastructure upgrade to explain the resource allocation. Only a handful of world leaders knew the full truth. 6 new ships joined the Pathfinder, each equipped with the latest technology reverse-engineered from Vorn systems. They formed the Sentinel Fleet, humanity's early warning and first strike capability. Captain Tom was promoted to Admiral and given command of this small but lethal force. Your mission is simple but crucial, General Hart told him during the commissioning ceremony. You will deploy beyond our solar system and monitor Vorn movements. If they approach Earth, you will strike first, targeting their command ships to create maximum confusion. The defense platforms began deploying throughout the solar system, disguised as weather and communication satellites. Each contained the disruptive technology that would be Earth's first line of defense. On the day before the Sentinel Fleet's departure, Admiral Tom visited the observation deck of the orbital station. Earth hung below, beautiful and vulnerable. Most of its people continued their daily lives, unaware of the threat approaching from the stars. Magnificent, isn't it? Said a voice behind him. Tom turned to see Dr. Miller joining him at the window. Worth fighting for, Tom replied simply. I have something for you, the scientist said, handing him a small device. It's a prototype we've developed based on Vorn communication systems. If our theories are correct, it can send false commands to their fleet in their own authorization codes. Tom took the device carefully. This could change everything. Or it might not work at all, Dr. Miller cautioned. We haven't been able to test it against actual Vorn systems. Then we'll test it in the field, Tom said, pocketing the device. The next morning, the Sentinel Fleet departed Earth orbit, carrying humanity's best technology and bravest crews. Their mission: to prepare the battlefield before the Vorn even realize there would be a battle. Meanwhile, in the distant Vorn command center, Officer Krell was being reassigned to a remote outpost for wasting resources on false security concerns. Commander Vortek stood proudly on the bridge of the Vorn flagship, the Dominant Will. The invasion fleet stretched out before him. 200 warships arranged in perfect formation, ready to claim yet another sector for the collective. Status report, he demanded, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he reviewed the tactical display. All ships report ready, Commander, his second-in-command replied. The jump to the human system can begin at your command. Our scouts report minimal defenses and primitive technology as expected. Vortek made a gesture of satisfaction with his upper limbs. This will be recorded as one of the easiest expansions in collective history. Begin the jump sequence. Throughout the massive fleet, crystal engines powered up, creating a rippling blue glow across the Armada. The space ahead distorted as the first wave of ships prepared to enter faster than light travel. Hidden in the shadow of a small moon, Admiral Tom Reed watched from the bridge of the Pathfinder. "They're starting their jump," Jack reported. "First wave will reach our solar system in approximately 10 minutes. Tom nodded grimly. "Send the alert to Earth. Then prepare the Phantom missiles. Target their command ships only." The 6 ships of the Sentinel fleet moved silently into position. Each carried a dozen of the experimental quantum weapons, designed specifically to bypass Vorn defenses. "Sir," Lisa called from communications, "I've intercepted their battle plan transmission. They're sending a third of their fleet directly to Earth. The rest will secure the outer planets." "Just as we expected," Tom replied. "They always strike the population centers first to force quick surrender." He activated the fleet-wide channel. "All ships, execute Operation First Strike. Remember your training. Hit hard, then jump out immediately. Don't try to engage them directly." The human ships accelerated toward the Vorn fleet just as the first wave entered their jump points. Tom removed Dr. Miller's device from his pocket and activated it. "Broadcasting false commands now," he announced. "Let's see if this works." The device emitted a signal matching Vorn command protocols. Across 20 ships in the first wave, navigation systems suddenly received new coordinates, sending them to empty points in space, far from their intended destinations. Confusion erupted across the Vorn communication channels. "What is happening?" Vortek demanded as alerts flashed across his command screen. "Why have the front ships diverted?" Before his officers could respond, the Sentinel fleet launched their attack. 36 Phantom missiles streaked toward the remaining Vorn ships, appearing as simple projectiles on their scanners. "Primitive missiles," Vortek scoffed. "Ray shields." The blue energy fields of Vorn defensive systems flared to life, easily strong enough to withstand conventional weapons. But these were not conventional weapons. As the missiles approached, the quantum-entangled particles within them activated. Half remained in the missiles while their paired particles instantly appeared inside the Vorn ships, bypassing shields entirely. The detonations occurred simultaneously inside and outside the targeted vessels. 24 Vorn ships, including 3 command cruisers, erupted in blue-white explosions. "Impossible," Vortek roared as his tactical display showed ships being destroyed. "How can their weapons penetrate our shields?" The Sentinel fleet didn't wait for the Vorn to recover. Following their hit-and-run strategy, they quickly jumped to their secondary positions near Mars. On Earth, General Hart watched the sensor data coming in from the outer system defenses. "It worked," she breathed. "The first wave is scattered, and they've lost command ships. The rest will still come," her aide warned. "Of course they will," Hart replied. "But now they'll come confused, disorganized, and afraid. Activate all defense platforms. The real battle begins soon." In the chaos of the damaged Vorn fleet, Commander Vortek struggled to regain control. Ships were reporting conflicting orders, some still jumping to incorrect coordinates, others holding position waiting for instructions. "Find out how they did this," he ordered, "and prepare the second wave for immediate jump. We will crush these humans for their insolence." But deep in his 4-chambered heart, Vortek felt something unfamiliar: doubt. For the first time in his long military career, a supposedly inferior species had drawn first blood against the mighty Vorn collective. The skies above Earth lit up with flashes of blue and white as the Vorn fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel. Instead of the organized formation they had planned, ships appeared in scattered groups, still recovering from the surprise attack. "All defense platforms activate now," General Hart commanded from the underground war room. Screens showed the approaching alien vessels, their numbers still overwhelming despite the losses they had suffered. Around Earth and its moon, 2,000 satellites that had appeared harmless suddenly came to life. They emitted invisible energy fields calibrated to the exact frequency of Vorn power crystals. On the dominant will, Commander Vortek watched with growing rage as his ship's systems began reporting power fluctuations. "What is happening to our weapons?" he demanded, striking his control panel with a powerful limb. "Unknown interference, Commander," his weapons officer replied, frantically working controls. "Our main cannons are operating at 47% capacity, shields at 60%. Vortex's outer eyes narrowed. "Impossible. These humans have primitive technology. Our scouts confirmed this." "The scouts might have been wrong," his second-in-command suggested quietly, "or deliberately missiled." The realization hit Vortex like a physical blow. The lone human ship they had dismissed months ago, it had been studying them, learning their weaknesses. In orbit around Mars, Admiral Tom and the Sentinel fleet watched the Vorn's confused approach. "They're experiencing the full effect of the defense platforms," Lisa reported, monitoring the intercepted Vorn communications. "Their weapons and shields are severely compromised." Tom nodded. "Begin Phase 2. Target their flagship." The Sentinel fleet moved swiftly from their hiding position behind Mars, approaching the scattered Vorn ships from behind. Their engines, modified with Vorn technology, allowed them to move faster than the aliens expected. "Launch Phantoms," Tom ordered. Another volley of the quantum-entangled missiles streaked toward the heart of the Vorn fleet. This time, they specifically targeted the dominant Will and its escort ships. On Earth, civilian defense forces prepared for possible ground invasion. The public had been informed of the threat just 1 week earlier, causing initial panic that had quickly transformed into determined resistance. People gathered in underground shelters, watching news feeds of the space battle above. "Look at that!" someone shouted as the missile impacts flashed in orbit. "Our ships are winning." The dominant Will shuddered as 3 Phantom missiles struck simultaneously. Inside the massive flagship, quantum particles appeared throughout critical systems, causing devastating explosions. "Bridge to engine room," Vortex shouted into the communication system. Only static answered. "Commander," his second reported grimly, "we've lost propulsion, weapons are offline, and life support is failing on decks 3 through 7. Around them, 15 more Vorn ships erupted in flames as the quantum weapons found their marks. The remaining Vorn vessels, already struggling with reduced power, began to break formation. "Order all ships to regroup," Vortex commanded. When no one moved to obey, he roared, "Do it now." "Sir," his communication officer said shakily, "we can't. Our communication array was destroyed in the attack. We can't reach the fleet." For the first time in his career, Vortex felt the cold grip of defeat. The humans had somehow identified and targeted every weakness in Vorn technology and tactics. On Earth, cheers erupted in the war room as the defense forces watched the Vorn fleet falling into chaos. "They're retreating," announced the sensor officer. "Multiple ships are activating jump drives." General Hart allowed herself a small smile. "Send the message we prepared." From Earth's largest communication array, a transmission went out to the Vorn fleet in their own language. "Your invasion has failed. Return to your territory. Any further aggression will be met with complete destruction." The message was accompanied by technical data showing that Earth understood the weaknesses of Vorn crystal technology in extensive detail. One by one, the remaining Vorn ships activated their jump drives and disappeared from Earth space. On the crippled dominant Will, Commander Vortex watched his once mighty invasion force retreat. "How?" he whispered. "How did they defeat us so easily?" His tactical officer, who had once served with Officer Krell, answered quietly. "They watched us, learned from us, while we ignored them. One ship. We dismissed one ship." As emergency power failed on the bridge, Vortex finally understood the fatal mistake of his arrogance. The damaged Vorn flagship Dominant Will drifted in Earth orbit, its once powerful engines silent. Emergency lights flickered across its massive hull as repair crews struggled to restore basic functions. On the bridge, Commander Vortex sat alone, staring at the blue planet below. A human shuttle approached the crippled vessel, docking at the emergency airlock. Admiral Tom Reed stepped onto the alien ship, accompanied by a small security team and Dr. Miller. They wore simple environmental suits, a precaution against the different atmosphere the Vorn required. This way, a young officer guided them through the corridors. The commander is expecting you. The humans were led to the bridge, where Vortek waited. The once proud Vorn commander looked diminished, his upper limbs held close to his body in a posture that Dr. Miller recognized as submission. "You have defeated us," Vortek stated simply when the humans entered. "How is this possible? Your species was assessed as primitive." Admiral Tom removed his helmet, meeting the alien's 4 eyes directly. "You made a critical mistake, Commander. You judged our capabilities by what you could see, not by what we might be hiding." The lone ship, Vortek realized. The one we ignored near the Kelnar system. Tom nodded. "The Pathfinder. My ship. While you dismissed us as harmless, we studied everything about you. Your weapons, shields, communication systems, tactical doctrine, even your biology." Dr. Miller stepped forward, displaying a small crystal similar to those powering Vorn technology. "We learned that your entire civilization depends on these crystals. They're incredibly powerful but vulnerable to specific energy frequencies." Vortek's outer eyes widened in shock. "You could not have developed countermeasures so quickly. It's impossible." "Humans are adaptable," Tom explained. "When faced with a threat, we unite and innovate faster than you can imagine. Your dismissal of us bought us the time we needed." Back on Earth, celebrations continued across every continent. The victory against an advanced alien force had united humanity like nothing before. Old conflicts seemed petty in the face of what they had overcome together. In the war room, General Hart addressed the world leaders gathered via holographic conference. "The Vorn fleet has withdrawn beyond Neptune's orbit," she reported. "Their flagship remains in our custody with Commander Vortek aboard. He has requested formal peace talks." The President of the United World Council nodded. "And Officer Krell, the one who tried to warn them about us. We've offered him asylum," Hart replied. "His insights into Vorn culture will be valuable as we establish diplomatic relations." On a distant Vorn outpost, Officer Krell received the unexpected message from Earth. His warnings had been ignored by his own people, but now the humans offered him respect and a place among them. The choice was easy. Back on the dominant Will, Admiral Tom handed Commander Vortek a data tablet containing Earth's terms. "This is an unconditional surrender," Tom explained as the alien reviewed the document. "We're offering a peace treaty. Your ships may return home. In exchange, the Vorn Collective will recognize Earth's sovereignty and agree to non-aggression." "You could destroy us," Vortek said, confused by the mercy. "Our fleet is crippled. Our technology compromised." "That's not who we are," Tom replied. "We defend ourselves when threatened, but we prefer peace when possible." As the humans prepared to leave, Vortek called out, "Admiral, one question. That first ship, why send just one? Why take such a risk?" Tom smiled slightly. "Sometimes the smallest observer can gather the most important information. You taught us a valuable lesson, Commander. Never underestimate what appears harmless." 3 months later, the first human diplomatic delegation arrived at the Vorn homeworld. Leading the mission was former Officer Krell alongside Admiral Tom Reed. Together, they would forge a new relationship between their species. In the Great Hall of the Vorn Collective, the Supreme Leader addressed the gathered assembly. "Let this be remembered through our history. We faced a species that turned our dismissal into their advantage and our arrogance into their victory. From them, we must learn humility." On that day, the official historical records of the Vorn Collective added a new entry. "The greatest military defeat in our expansion era began with a single overlooked ship. The humans taught us that true power lies not in technology alone, but in the wisdom to use it."